Chapter 18, Disaster. And I'm already giving you spoilers. The ship is sinking? Even as you say the words aloud, it's almost impossible to believe them. But the Titanic is supposed to be unsinkable. That means we need to evacuate. And tell as many people as possible. Hold on, our boiler room got hit bad, but that doesn't mean the whole ship is about to go down. I overheard officers when I was in the brig. The damage is along the starboard hull. Too many watertight sections are flooding. A surge of panic runs through you as you imagine the ship sinking in the cold, icy water, just as you escaped. But Theo's calm demeanor is enough to help you steady yourself. Mac, no one knows of the lower decks, just all those situation as yet. We need to start telling people to head to the lifeboats. The captain will have a cow if we tell people to evacuate and we're wrong. Mac looks down at a tiny stream of water trickling from beneath the heavy door to the flooded boiler room, a stream that is steadily growing. Hell, let's do it. I'll go this way if you head the other way into the hall. Mac grimaces as he hobbles down the hallway on his injured leg. Theo takes your hand, a comforting presence at your side. But as you hurry down the hallway, he suddenly stumbles, wincing as he catches himself against the wall. What's wrong? I'm fine. We don't have time to worry about me. We have to warn the other passengers. But you're obviously not fine. If you don't stop to rest, you're only going to hurt yourself more, and what good will you do in that condition? He pauses, leaning heavily against a door frame. Seeing his torn expression, you press your luck. Just take a moment to rest, please. Fine. Just a moment. Theo relents and lets you slip your arm around his waist, easing him down onto a nearby seat. He grimaces as he slumps against it. He clearly hurt himself helping Mac, even if he doesn't want to admit it. You gaze at him in concern, taking in several deep scrapes and painful-looking burns. Those injuries need looking after, and if the ship is truly sinking, I may not have time to help him later. We gotta milk this thing for all it's worth. Quick, let's bandage him before going out in the icy cold. You keep saying you're fine when you're clearly not. Let's at least try to do something about those injuries. You pull him into a nearby empty room, pressing him firmly back until he sits on one of the beds, wincing. Theo gazes up at you. Is it really necessary? Yes, your injuries won't make whatever is to come any easier. Now stop stalling and take your shirt off. Ruefully, he reaches for the bottom of his ragged shirt, pulling it over his head, which is obviously difficult. Oh, Theo. Several deep scrapes run to the length of his shoulder, while his arms and chest are reddened with angry-looking burns. I really look that bad. You look only slightly singed. He laughs and reaches for a sign, wincing playfully. On second thought, maybe laughing isn't the best idea right now. Guiltily, you reach out, your hands hovering anxiously above his bare skin. I'm so sorry. Don't be, I'm just happy you're here no matter what happens. From somewhere below you, the ship gives an ominous creak. Hurriedly, you bring your attention back to the matter at hand. We need to bandage your wounds, and quickly. Reach down, grab the bottom of your underskirt, and rip a long strip from the edge. What on earth are you doing? I'm improvising. Bandage his chest. Wrap his arm. Kiss his chest. With gentle fingers, you reach out, smoothing the strips of cloth over the worst of his scrapes. Theo tenses but doesn't pull away as you glide your hand slowly across his muscular chest, positioning the makeshift bandage. How does that feel? Theo looks up at you, his eyes heated as you skim your way down his broad chest and across his well-chiseled stomach. Much better. Your fingers tremble ever so slightly as you tighten the bandage, tying it in place. Despite your circumstances, your breath quickens as you feel a familiar tug of desire. Focus, Violet, we don't have much time. Clearing your throat, you reach for another strip of cloth. Theo follows your gaze towards the angry burn on his shoulder. That must hurt, something awful. I know it's not a nice sight. Just say the word and we can be done with it if you want. It's not the wound that bothers me, I just don't like seeing you in pain, and I mean to finish what I started. Pressing your lips together, you lift your chin defiantly. I'll press a soft kiss to his shoulder. Theo stills as you lean forward, letting your lips graze ever so softly across his wound. His scent is achingly familiar, skin even warmer than usual beneath your touch. Violet. Even now, your heart swells at the sound of your name on his lips. Just focus on me, I'm almost done. After one final, lingering kiss, you draw a clean bandage over his wound, securing it tightly before helping him back into his shirt. It's not much, but it's the best I can do now. I just hope it helps. Despite his injuries, Theo pulls you close, cradling you tightly against him. Thank you, Violet. I don't know what I would do without you. His hands tighten around your waist as the ship gives another ominous creak. With sudden desperation, Theo bends his head to yours, capturing your mouth in a passionate kiss. Theo. You melt into his embrace. You can't help wondering if this might be the last kiss you ever share together. Your body throbbing with an urgency you've never felt before, you slide your hands down his waist, pulling his hips flush with yours. As his tongue slips into your mouth, teasing and coaxing in equal measure, you revel in the hard length of his body against yours. Violet. Tangling your hands around his neck, you pull him even closer, deepening the kiss. Theo's mouth floods you with heat, and setting you aflame with desire. By the time you force yourself to pull away, both of you and him are shaking. We should probably get going. Do you think you can walk okay? Thanks to you, I can manage. Then we need to evacuate as many people as we can. Gathering your courage for what lies ahead, you and Theo share a final heated smile before rushing out into the hallway. Water runs over the toes of your shoes as you and Theo make your way through the third-class hallways, knocking on every door you can find. Hello, is anyone there? This is an emergency. The ship is flooding. You need to get to safety now. To your relief, most of the passengers heed your warning, heading for the stairwells as quickly as they can, but the number of people fleeing is large, and a horrible thought suddenly occurs to you. Theo, there aren't enough lifeboats for everybody, are there? No, there are not. Then, save as many as we can. We may not be able to help everyone, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't at least try. You're right. These people still deserve a fighting chance. Fear surges through your veins, even colder than the water lapping at your feet. Still, you force yourself to keep moving. You reach the end of the hallway and twist open the door to the next one. Oh, fun times ahead. But the moment you do, unleashes a wave of water from a flooded corridor beyond. The rushing water nearly knocks you to the ground. You cling desperately to the door frame, your teeth chattering as the icy water washes over you. Theo's strong arms wrap around you from behind, helping you brace against the onslaught. Hold on tight. You hold fast, gripping the doorframe with all of your might, ignoring the protests of your icy fingers until the wave subsides. Thank goodness I wore something warm. Despite his injuries and the cold water rising nearly to your waist, Theo easily straightens you up. Your bandaging clearly did its job. You all right? Despite some chills, I am, but the water is rising fast. No sense staying here, then. The nearest stairwell is at the end of the hull, but we'll have to swim for it. Your stomach sinks as you peer down the length of the flooded corridor. But I'm worried about you. Will you be able to make it to the length of the hallway with your injuries? Be fine, your bandages have me feeling like a new man. Taking a deep breath, you both plunge into the icy water, swimming desperately forward. The icy water feels like a metal vice tightening around your chest, squeezing every last drop of air from your lungs. It's so cold. Your numb limbs grow heavy with fatigue. With each clumsy stroke through the water, your movements grow slower and slower. We're nearly there, Violet. Just keep swimming. The voice cuts through the fatigue, but as you swim up the stairwell, your arms are leaden with exhaustion, your fingers blue with cold. At least the rest of me isn't completely freezing. You stumble under the mess hall, but it's already flooded as well. The ground tilted beneath your feet as the Titanic lists to the side. Wading awkwardly through the toppled furniture, you and Theo hear cries from across the room. A table sits on its side, wedged beneath the handle of a passenger bunk. Mother, please, help us out. The door won't open. The room is flooding. There's a family trapped in there. We need to help them. Break the door handle. That sounds fun. Push the table out of the way. Help me with the table, Theo. We need to get it out of the way. Bracing yourself against the side of the table, you and Theo begin to push with every ounce of strength you have. That's it. Heave on 3. 1, 2, heave! After a long, tense moment, you finally manage to shove the heavy table away from the door. The mother and father wade out, the father clutching their daughter in his arms to keep her out of the water. Oh, how can we ever thank you enough? If you really want to thank us, get to safety as quickly as you can. But Mama, what about my doll? With a jolt, you recognize a small girl from the hospital ward. She's one of the children Theo and I gave toys to. Leave the doll, darling. There's no time to find it. Grasping her daughter's hand, she and her husband hurry the protesting child away to the stairwell. As you and Theo follow them, as the passengers flee through the flooded halls, you recognize the couple who got engaged the other night. Forget the money, Hans. We need to keep moving. I know, but it's our entire life savings. As Hans and Elsie hurry past, looking stricken, you notice trinkets drifting through the water. They're signs of beloved possessions left behind. How awful. What else must people do or have to abandon? More than I can imagine. I can always buy another fiddle someday. But for some families, losing their belongings could make or break their futures. If they survive to have a future at all. He nods, glancing back at the flooded hallway behind you. He's obviously torn between escaping and doing something to help. This scene will allow you to retrieve passengers' valuables, including Theo's, without endangering your escape. Okay. You literally and figuratively said that this is completely pointless and they may die, but hey, let's go ahead and spend diamonds. We gotta milk this for all it's worth. Let's grab what we can for these people. We may not be able to save much, but we have to try. Theo nods in agreement, his expression proud. You're right, if we work fast, we can spare a minute or two. Turning back, you fight your way through the rapidly rising water, hurriedly searching for as many valuables as you can find. With Theo at your side, you duck into a family's room. Water is starting to trickle inside as you search for the girl's missing doll. Under the bed. Dropping to your knees, you plunge your hands beneath the icy water, your feet feeling blindly for the girl's lost doll. You're about to give up when your fingers close around the familiar shape. It must be a good hide and seek. I found the doll. Great work, now let's see what else we can save. Noticing a small bag hanging from a nearby peg, you carefully tuck the doll inside and carry the bag with you. As you make your way back out into the mess hall, you grab a worn locket floating past atop the icy water. Someone would miss this. I'll check Hans and Elsie's room. Maybe I can find their savings or some other valuables. As Theo wades through the debris-strewn mess hall towards Han and Elsie's room, you suddenly realize that his quarters are nearby as well. Perhaps I can save some of his things too. Pushing your way through the hallway as quickly as you can, you twist open the door handle. To your relief, Theo's quarters aren't flooded yet, but the water from down the hallway begins to pouring in as quickly as you open the door. I need to hurry if I'm going to save anything. You spot his fiddle sitting in its usual place of honor. You're coming with me. Grabbing the fiddle and tucking it in its case, you carefully stow it in your bag. There's just enough room for the hat that Captain Smith gave Theo as well. With a final, regretful look around the rapidly flooding bedroom, you slosh back into the hall to find him. Where have you been? I was worried I couldn't find you in the mess hall. Rushing to meet you, he wraps you in his arms, pulling you close despite the chill of the water. His embrace makes you feel warm and safe. I had to find something important. Nothing here is more important than your safety, Violet. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. It's okay. You're doing everything you can to help people. Just don't leave my side again until we're through this. Theo, I'll always be with you. Thank you. We're going to make it through this together. Lifting yourself onto the tiptoes, you press a quick kiss to Theo's cold cheek. Did you at least find what you were looking for in their room? I did, but the water's getting pretty high. It's time to move on. As you make your way into the hall, you see a thick knot of people gathered at the bottom of the staircase. As the people cry out in fear and encouragement, several men are ramming their shoulders against the solid door at the top of the stairs. What on earth is happening? A familiar face at the edge of the crowd turns to you, and you recognize Ania from the dinner at the mess hall, standing with Jacob and Samuel. The staircase is supposed to lead to the upper decks, but the door won't open. Something on the upper deck must be blocking it. Or someone. Fear courses through you as you stare up at the unmoving door. Your clothes are soaking with icy water. With every moment, it rises higher. After everything Theo and I have been through, could this be the end? Help! Somebody help us! Please, we're all trapped down here. The crowd grows increasingly frantic as the water creeps past their waists, screaming for help as they pound desperately on the door and walls of the stairwell. Before long, the water's up to your chest and the door still hasn't budged. This isn't working, Violet. We need to do something. Encourage them to get out. Gritting your teeth against the cold, you raise your voice, crying out for the others' attention. The door's never going to open. We all need to get out of here while we still can. But as the ship lurches beneath your feet, the water shifts as it rises, completely flooding the hallway, leaving only a small space between the water level and the ceiling to breathe. Panic grips the crowd as passengers push, shove, and flail to reach their air pockets. Some slip below the icy water, while others are pushing down in the scramble. Violet, this way! As you fight to get another breath, buffeted into one of the few air pockets, Theo splashes towards you, grabs your hand, tugging you away from the struggling crowd. He takes a deep breath, dives underwater, so you do the same, pushing through the thrashing bodies as they blindly claw at anything around them. As you swim away from the chaos of the stairwell, muffled shouts and screams of those trapped echo through the icy water. I can't breathe! Help! But as you press on, the cries slowly fall silent behind you. Shuddering, you force yourself to keep swimming. We can't give up now, but we need air. Suddenly spot a small pocket of air overhead as you surface. Theo does the same beside you. An eerie quiet has descended all around you both. Aside from the ominous groans of the ship beneath you, and the only sound you hear is the harsh inhalation of your own ragged breath. What are we going to do? Theo grabs your arm, helping you stay afloat as you tread back and forth in the freezing water. There's another exit nearby, but we'll have to go underwater through a completely flooded stretch of ship to reach it. You wonder if you'll be able to find your way through the icy darkness, or if there is even a way out on the other side. But we can't stay here either. If we want to survive, this is our only option. I trust you, Theo. Then take a deep breath, and whatever you do, don't leave my side. Following Theo's instructions, you fill your lungs with as much air as you can, and follow him below the surface. The water seems to grow colder with each passing second. Determinedly, you swim on, only to see an amour floating right towards you. Duck beneath it. Desperately, you and Theo dive forward, plunging even deeper beneath the freezing water. The cold cuts deep, but the fur of your coat is surprisingly light as you swim. Pixelberry, listen, you've never... Go swimming. Go swimming with some clothes on, I'm just saying. I don't care if it's warm weather, cold weather, go swimming. No one with clothing says that. Insulated from the worst of the freezing water, you manage to duck beneath the enormous wooden wardrobe just in time. That was close. Your lungs already burning in protest, you and Theo swim forward, continuing through the darkness. Pixelberry triggers me. You glance over and see Theo keeping pace beside you. He's swimming, unaffected by his bandaged shoulder. His face is determined. As you reach out with a stroke, a blurred object cuts into your arm, but you push forward, ignoring the pain. Your arms grow increasingly leaden with exhaustion. Your lungs feel like they will burn out of your chest, and there's no end in sight. I can't make it much longer. I'll hold my breath. Fighting the pain in your lungs, you peer around the watery darkness, spotting a glimmer of light from up ahead. It's the stairwell. With a final heroic burst of effort, you and Theo kick forward, swimming desperately towards the light. Reaching the steps, you help Theo into it as you haul yourselves from the frigid water, both gasping with effort. We made it. Shrieks echo loudly overhead as the Titanic lurches beneath your feet. Theo's face tightens with worry. He reaches grimly for your hand. We're almost out, come on. With Theo's help, you stumble up the decks onto the upper deck, only to find it in utter chaos. Ship crew members hold crowds of people at bay, trying to maintain order as the lifeboats are nearly overrun. Women and children first! Most of the lifeboats are already gone. The Titanic is rapidly sinking, and the front end of the ship already submerged below the waves. Yet among the chaos is the soft, gentle melody of the band playing. One last show for with the crowd, friends. All around you, panicked passengers are rushing back and forth, searching for any remaining spots on the lifeboats. Let me on the boat this instant. I can pay. There's a lifeboat with space at the end of the deck. Back off. This one's full. Release. The crowded lifeboat lowers into the water. You notice Elsie sobbing as she waves up to Hans, who remains on the deck. Don't worry, Elsie. I'll be on the next one, I promise. I'll find you. Across the boat, you spot one last lifeboat among the chaos. Come on, we have to make it on that lifeboat. What if they don't let you aboard? Don't worry about that right now. All that matters is that you get on. But he looks at you with pure love and resolve in his eyes. It's Violet. If we don't hurry, neither of us will make it on. You stumble across the wave-tossed decks as shouts and screams fill air around you, almost to the lifeboat, just a little further. There's no more room. Where is he? Has anyone seen my husband? The deck tilts as more of the ship sinks beneath the icy waves and suddenly start to slip along with it. You frantically reach for something to keep you upright as the deck chairs, suitcases, and other passengers slide past you towards the water. I grab the railing. You lunge forward and wrap your hands around a nearby stretch of railing, clinging to it as other passengers tumble to the water below. I can do this. I can do this. You start to heave yourself along it, gritting your teeth despite the sting of the freezing cold metal beneath your palms. I've got to keep moving, got to... But then the ship pitches again. The railing slips from your grasp. No! For a moment, as you tumble backward, your almost weightless screams mingle with the crash of waves against the doomed ship, and then a voice calls your name. Violet, take my hand! You grab hold. He pulls you into his embrace. Despite the bitter cold, you feel a flush of warmth as you're wrapped in his arms. You're safe, I've got you. For a long moment, you gaze out into one another's eyes, the air between you practically pulsing with emotion. We're almost there. But as you both take another step towards the lifeboat, the air is rent with a huge crack as the ship splits in half. The floor beneath you shifts, rising too fast to react as the front half of the ship sinks below the icy waters and you and Theo slide off the deck. Violet! He tries to hold on, but you're both falling, tumbling towards the dark waves far below. Theo! And then the icy water of the Atlantic swallows you whole. Okay, well, that's depressingly short. Without further ado, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down in the description, plenty of things to check out there, ways to support, and the whatnot. Yeah, so this is it. Right? This is it. This is, you know, I'd say probably one chapter left in this book. Kind of saddening, really, when you think about it, how, you know, especially as a person who knows a lot about the Titanic, and, like, some of the lifeboats were only filled to half capacity. There was a lot of people that could have survived that day, and there were a lot of people who died pointless deaths. There were people who were fighting over stupid things like love. And the Titanic was wrought with stupidity. I'm gonna be honest with you. There were some good things, but there were some bad things, right? Also, people were not quick to react. Let's be honest, because people thought the Titanic is unsinkable. And, you know, it's weird that, you know, you think back to the Titanic, one of the largest boats ever made, and then you think back to where we are now. Or may I say, think forward. And you have ginormous boats with amusement parks on them, floating around the ocean as we speak. And it's wild. This is just really, really wild. You know, kind of like the Wright brothers, you know, they tested planes and, you know, the sort, and many were wrought with failure, and then there were the successful ones, right? The first of its kind will always fail. They will always fail. There will be never trust anyone to say it, Hey, this will never fail. This can never fail. Even though we've never done it before, this can never fail. Because usually, it always does fail. For instance, think of that submarine most recently. People were very overconfident. And what did their overconfidence get them? Right? But, yeah, no, unfortunately, wrought with tragedy for the Titanic. So, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.